Hello chess friends, this is Sir Glenn back again with one of my chess videos. Yung huling video na ginawa ko is about Sicilian Najdorf Poison Pawn variation, which comes after the opening moves e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, takes, knight f6, knight c3, a6, bishop g5, e6, and after f4, queen b6, queen d2. Okay. So from this position, white offers his pawn on b2. Libre yung pawn sa b2 for black in replace for quick development, especially the half open b file. So let's say black takes the pawn, rook b1, queen a3, and then we follow the standard attack here, which is f5. Okay, there will be a separate video para i-discuss ko yung e5. Okay, so after f5, knight c6, uh, we insert the move f e6. Um, Hindi knight takes c6 agad kasi gusto natin after f takes e6, kapag ginawa ng black is bishop takes e6, we can capture the bishop with our knight. So the correct recapture is pawn takes pawn, and after knight takes knight e5. Okay. Now, in this position, there's also a move alternative, which is knight d5, which was played by Povov against Carlsen. But we shall not tackle that in this game. We will go back to the main line or main variation after pawn takes pawn, bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, knight e4. Okay. Hindi ko na-discuss dito yung possible move ng black of queen takes a2 or queen takes pawn, attacking white's rook here on b1. I just like to include it in the opening analysis. If black plays that, white has a very strong attack starting with knight takes f6. After knight takes f6, black should play king f7, because after king e7, queen g5 setups a very strong um, discovered check, no? Kapag nag king e7 siya dito, queen g5, which is medyo malakas na yung combination ng queen and knight. So we don't have that. Instead, king f7 is the correct move. And after king f7, we play rook b3. White offers the knight on f6 for free, kapalit ng malakas na atake. Okay, black can insert queen a1 check before capturing the knight on f6. Let's see what happens if black captures on f6. Okay, as you can see, there's a possible check on f3 with our rook. Rook f3 check, no? Pwede siya mag-check dito. Or we can check here. So we calculate both, but um, actually the answer for it, let's say for example, let's play rook f3 check, and black plays something like, go back maybe, king e7, uh, I'm not sure, queen g5, king e8, queen h5, king d7, rook d3, and after king c7, maybe queen f7, and then as you can see, black seem to get away with it. So hindi yun ang accurate answer. Okay, so let's go back a few moves. So instead of playing rook f3 check, most accurate is queen d8 check. Okay, actually hindi natatagal ng 10 moves pa yung black dito kasi it has been analyzed already by Rivka. Let's say for example, black plays the obvious king f5, trying to get away. White will mate in 5 moves starting with rook f3 check. Eh syempre pag dito siya pumunta, mate in 2 lang yan. So king g4, h3, king h5, g4 check, and then finally queen f6 mate. Okay, let's try, for example, black plays um yeah, black plays king g6. Pag king g6 naman, mate n6 yan, rook g3 check, king f7. Um, okay, so after king f7, rook f3 check. So walang ibang tira. Um, king g6, queen f5, and after king h5, last two moves na yan. Then rook h4 mate. Okay? Now, after king f7, siguro parehas lang ang solution yun. Rook f3 check, check here, check, and then rook h4. The only move that I think makes the difference is king g7 perhaps, and then bishop e7. Let's discuss king g7. It's the same actually. After rook g3, pupunta mo lang siya uli doon. And then it will go back to the sequence of mate na nakita na natin kanina. Okay? So, ang natitira na lang line is bishop e7, which kahit na give up ng black yung rook niya, will still lead into mate after um, queen takes h8. No? Actually, mate in 7 na to. After king g6, queen g8 check, king f5, queen takes pawn check, and then let's say king f6, trying to get in, rook f3, king g5, and a little pawn move, h4 check, king g4, and after queen g6 check, uh, almost mate na. Natitira na lang harang ng bishop, and after queen takes bishop, black is mated on an open board or on the g4 square. Okay, let's try to go back. Actually, the same calculation happens if instead of capturing the knight on f6 at once, black may insert queen a1 check, king e2, para nga naman nahaharangan ng puti yung bishop niya sa d3. Of course, if king f2, it exposes the king to a possible queen to queen. Wala nang mate. Okay? Or mahihirapan na yung white mag-organize ng mate. So king e2 is in order. And let's say for example, black tries to uh, do a queen to queen with queen d4. Okay, so for example, queen d4, I don't think it's actually negative for white to have queen exchange because after rook f3, let's say nag queen to queen, and then let's say black plays king e7. At first glance, lamang ng dalawang pawn yung black, and he has the two bishops, but actually white can quickly organize an attack here, a very strong position. Let's say for example, white can play knight to g4, targeting the pawn on e5, remove his bishop, put it on an active square, maybe bishop d3 or bishop c4, and then patong ng rook h to f1, which makes the possible rook f7 or rook invasion sa f5. So let's say for example, white plays knight g4, targeting the pawn on e5, black defenses by bishop g7. White, for instance, may play bishop d3 para matali ng konti yung rook sa a7, dahil pag hindi, mababawi niya agad yung isang pawn. And then let's say for example, black plays bishop d7. Actually, bishop d7. Okay, so that after rook here, black can mate it to rook here or rook here dun sa isa. Let's say for example, kasi pag ito, uh, yeah, white may just exchange rooks, capture on a6 and then capture on e5 later. So let's say for example, takes. If bishop takes, knight will take on e5, so king, and then takes. Uh, Medyo drawish tong endgame na to kahit nasabihin mo 2 bishops yung black. Double pawn naman yung ipong. So I guess rook h to f8 is better. So let's say for example, rook takes f8. If bishop takes the same reply, knight takes the pawn, so black plays here. And then after takes here, king takes, bishop takes pawn. We'll go back to the same endgame, which white is down a pawn, pero double pawn sa e-pile, so probably drawish tong game na to. Okay, another line that we can look here instead of rook b3, rook d1. And if black captures the knight on f6, bishop d3. It looks slower, but actually it brings more pieces into the attack kasi after white threatens to castle kingside, it will involve the other rook into the attack. An example will be like, for example, queen d5, castle kingside, king e7, queen g5, and king d6, trying to hide sa wall of pawns and queen niya, will eventually fail to bishop e4, taking advantage of the pin sa queen. So, maki-queenless yung black dito, matatalo siya. Okay? So, now we see the effect of the game if black plays queen takes f a2 after knight f6, king f7. So, bishop e7 is the only normal move to avoid those devastating attack from white. Bishop e2, h5. And now, I want to particularly look at the position where white plays rook f1. Actually, we can go, um, yeah, rook f1, I think. Rook f1. So after rook f1, black has two replies here. Queen takes pawn sa a2 or push sa f5. Let's analyze queen takes pawn first. White plays rook d1. And black tries to do a queen swap here by blocking the d file para maalis yung ma-prevent yung threat ng white na knight d6 check. Now white plays queen e3. And there's a very interesting game played between international master Orlov and international master Balcerak, Germany 2005. The game continued queen a5 check, c3, and then f5. Now here, white plays a very interesting sacrifice. Sinakripisyo niya yung knight niya. After queen g3, he hangs his knight on e4. And after king f7, kasi ang balak ng white is simply play queen g6 checkmate. Kapag kinain ng black yan, checkmate agad. Okay? So, black has to play king f7. And then comes a very strong rook sacrifice. Rook takes f5. Opening the line, the diagonal of a to g8 diagonal para maging active tong bishop niya sa yung light square bishop niya. So, after pawn takes rook, bishop c4 check, king f8, international master Orlov played queen g7. And after a few moves, he resigned after bishop h4 check, g3, and then rook a7 trying to cover the mate. But after pawn takes bishop, black realized that he is really down material and he cannot even play pawn takes knight because that will still lead into mate. After, let's say, queen f6 check, king e8, queen takes rook check, wala naman siyang square, isa lang, king g7, and after queen g7 check, black will lose more material, starting with maybe queen takes rook here. Or white can still play for something like uh, here, and then queen f7, mate. Okay. Now, instead of queen takes a2, black can play f5 para umpisa pa lang maharangan na. And he fails to another attacking motive starting with rook f3. Okay. Now, again, there are two choices, taking the pawn on a2 and not taking the pawn by playing queen a4, which still white has the advantage. According to master practice or games sa mga master, um, it leads to a very favorable position after knight d6, bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop, and then queen a5 check, king f1. And in this game, um, or in this position, we can say that black is really underdeveloped and white's rook is starting to go up the board and find some holes into black's position. So after queen d5, the rest is very easy for white. He just avoids the queen exchange, taking advantage of the queen invasion. Black tries to enforce his will, but of course, ayaw ng white. And then after, eventually, the rest of the game becomes very clear. Ayan na yung mga rocks ng puti. Um, Here, black resigned. This is a game between Danin and Zilka. Both are masters in Prague tournament in Czechoslovakia in 2011. Okay, now um, instead of playing queen d5 check hoping for a queen exchange, what if black tries to cover his seventh rank by playing rook a7? Since rook b8 can easily be made meet by queen c7. Let's say rook b8, queen c7 lang, covered na lahat ng squares. While let's say queen takes c6, well, black can play king f7, and I think everything is covered. Rook sacrifice, I don't think it will be scary because the seventh rank is covered. King g7 lang. And I don't see any continuation with white. If white plays rook b6, well, interesting nga yan. Mukhang pasok yung atake niya. It just shows how strong white's attack is. Well, anyway, how about if black plays king e7? Yeah, I think that's more correct. King e7. Uh, well, here, let's say for example, white can play rook b6, bishop c4, threatening. Uh, yeah, I think king e7 makes white's attack more difficult. But anyway, that's not the more correct move since after uh, oh, since after rook a7, I think much more interesting would be rook g3, I think. So I think the best way to continue the attack is rook b8. Since queen c7 with fail to queen takes pawn, taking advantage of the fact na open check and then followed by rook takes c8. So I guess after rook b8, the correct move is king takes f7. I mean king f7, and then after king f7, bishop c4, uh,